Good evening, everyone. It's Ian Pretty here, your PPC candidate for Don Valley West. I wanted to do a short piece on China. There's obviously been quite a bit of news from Hong Kong that's been happening in the last few days. We're coming up to the election. We're 4 days away, which also means we're pretty close to November. And as you know, we've had two Canadians, Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor, who have been detained in China for almost a year. And this Liberal government has done absolutely zero to solve this problem. So I wanted to go through some steps that I would take in order to solve this problem. And I would go through 5 escalating steps that are quite hawkish in order to get China to understand that they're not free to do this to our citizens. So the first step would be that I would kick the ambassador out. I would kick the ambassador out and their diplomats, and they're welcome to come back when they release our prisoners who have done nothing wrong. The second thing I would do is I would ban Huawei from Canada's 5G infrastructure build. Huawei equipment is being used by companies like TELUS in northern Canada. I don't know exactly why. I think this is a very, very poor decision. And there's also the case of a well-documented case of server equipment that was coming from China. This is approximately about 2 years ago, I believe, where a chip was hidden into the servers to transmit data back to China. And it's well documented. You can look that case up. It was in all the main business publications, including MarketWatch. So in my opinion, in all likelihood, they're trying to create a worldwide espionage network, and this equipment has no place in Canada's infrastructure. Step 3, there's something called the Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank. And this is something that is headquartered, it's a bank that's headquartered in Beijing. Canada has agreed to fund it over 5 years with $256 million of your tax money to buy a 1% interest in it. And we've continued that funding despite the false imprisonment of our 2 Canadians. And I would immediately stop all funding to this bank. It is absolutely ludicrous that we are helping China build its economy when our citizens are being treated the way they do. The fourth thing I would do is there's a rotating board seat on the same bank. And so Canada's 2-year term began in July 2018. It expires next summer. I would immediately resign from that seat. And if those 4 steps didn't work, the last thing I would do is ban all imports, Chinese imports to Canada. China exports 2 times the value of goods each year to us than we do to them. They have a lot to lose if we were to do this. And if you read Foreign Affairs magazine, as I have for many years, what China really wants is not military hegemony, but economic hegemony. And so the best way to hurt them is to interfere with their economic plans, and stopping all imports would certainly do that. Andrew Scheer has a fundamental misunderstanding when he talks about taking China to the World Trade Organization under a dispute mechanism. Where he's from, obviously, canola is a big deal. Our great Canadian farmers are producing the same great canola they always have. China is trying to pretend that there's something wrong with it when the real reason is they're trying to harm our economic interests. And Andrew Scheer believes that the correct solution for that is to take them to the WTO, which shows that he doesn't understand that this is a diplomatic problem. This is 100% a diplomatic problem. It is not a trade problem. So those are the steps I would take. I hope that made sense. And good luck to all of our candidates on Monday night. Thank you to all the supporters. It's been absolutely fantastic. It's been an incredible 14 months. Let's go win this on Monday night. Thanks, guys.